Why'd you fill your telly with lizards?
Look, I've told you the lizards started coming out of that telly as soon as you'd set it up, right?
You filled your telly with lizards.
Right. I'm gonna get you sacked, mate. What's your name?
It's Mr. Lizard.
Stop me about!
Nincompoop.
Come on, what is it?
Mr. Lizard.
Right, what's your boss's name?
Another Mr. Lizard.
Stop it! Stop it!
Mr. Lizard.
Stop it! Where are you going? Get back there and fix that television!
Hello and welcome to Bleeding Tree Gaming. My name's Amy, aka Warpfiend, and in this video I'm going to give the full breakdown of my Seraphon scheme. So I'm going to dive straight in on this one. I've been working on this Seraphon commission for quite a while now. I've done a video on the jungle bases, I've talked about the main scheme on stream, so let's just jump into a tutorial. First off, I spray them all gold over a zenithal highlight. I use a mix of Vallejo Metal Colour Gold and Green Stuff World Ancient Gold pigment to get this rich gold base coat that's going to be super smooth because of the airbrushing. After this, I spray some Luxian Purple from below to add a bit of warmth, depth and contrast to the gold. And then some Tesseract Glow from above. I'm using the opposing colour to the purple to just emphasise that colour transition. It doesn't change the gold too much, but just makes it pop. Next is an oil wash in Light Rust by Abtalung, diluted with some thinner. I'm going to leave this all night to dry and come back to paint the rest over the top. Okay, so the first thing to do now that all the metals are done is to establish that skin tone. My client requested something on the green side of the turquoise blue-green divide, so I'll be using some dark jade here. I'll cover the whole skin at this stage. Next, I want to just paint in the sections that will be a lighter colour in Sons of Horus green. On the Saurus, this is literally just the belly and the undersides of the tail. On these mega buff Croxagore, I'm going to expand that to include the inner arms and legs, the hands and feet, and the underside of the jaw. Once that's all coloured, I'll give it a wash of Seraphon Sepia and go back to the main skin for now. So for the main scales and skin, I want to highlight that dark jade with some Vallejo Emerald. I'm doing a volumetric highlight here where I just roughly pick out some of the most raised spots and brighten them up. Don't worry too much about blending at this stage, as the next couple of stages will hide that. Okay, so the next, and by far the most time consuming stage, is edge highlighting all of those scales. To do this, I mix some emerald with some bright pale green, and with a very sharp tip on my brush I go around every single one of those scales. It may seem like a chore, and you could certainly save time by replacing it with a quick dry brush, but I feel the results will speak for themselves. It's been very time consuming doing this method on a spearhead box, so for a larger army you may struggle. Once that's finished with, I move on to pure bright pale green for some dot highlights. I'm going to place these at the corners where two lines intersect, particularly focusing on the upward facing corners. If you do every single corner it looks a little busy, but focusing on the topward ones really helps define all those individual scales. Finally, after finishing all the scales, I want to tie them together and knock back the brightest highlights slightly, so I dilute some Athematic Blue contrast paint with Larmium Medium and cover all of the scales. And that's by far the hardest part of the model done, so let's rush through the other sections. Let's tackle the belly next. For my first highlight, I mixed a little uniform grey in with that Sons of Horus green and layer up those rippling, gorgeous reptilian muscles. Sexy, sexy lizards. Next, some pure uniform grey for a slightly more selective highlight. Next, I mix some olive flesh in with the grey. I'm getting rougher and more diluted with these highlights, leaving some roughly textured highlights here. Then I use some pure olive flesh, heavily diluted with water, and do some patchy final highlights for the brightest parts. Once that's dry, I go back to the olive flesh, dilute it a little less this time, and I'm going to speckle it around the underbelly to give this kind of mottled effect to the skin. With the underbelly done, I'm going to work through a bunch of details from a base coat of corn red. I'll use this for the ropes that tie the armour plates to the Saurus, the clubs, the inside of the mouths, as well as all claws, nails and teeth. I choose to base these all the same just to save a little time after how long the edge highlighting scales took, but we'll have all of these sections looking distinct. First off, the mouth and tongue. Here I mix a little beige red with that corn red for a highlight, followed by another highlight with pure beige red. The club gets a layer highlight in resplendent red, focusing towards one end. Then I use a mix of resplendent red and dark warm flesh to give it an edge highlight. For the teeth and claws, I'm going to just paint some skeleton bones straight over the red. Then I highlight that with some olive flesh. I use the same colour scheme as the club on the ropes, just in a series of even dots that mirrors the entwined texture of the rope. That's the mini almost done, but just to tidy it up at the end, I'm going to give a coat of matte varnish over all of the non-metallic parts. And after this, I just take some of that Vallejo metal colour gold just to tidy up any splashes of other paints that I've got on the model. And that's the lot. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope very much you've enjoyed this video. This Seraphon commission has been taking a little longer than I expected, but I'm really super pleased with the results, and the feedback I've got on them so far seems to be great. I've just got to do the Carnosaur now, and the spearhead box is finished. I could do a video on that, so please let me know if that's something you'd like to see. If not, I might tackle something completely different for my next video. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And don't forget all the things we've got in the description. You can join us on Discord or Facebook or Blue Sky, as well as donate to us on Coffee or use our Element Games affiliate link, whatever you fancy. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Amy, aka Warpfiend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!